I am Dr. Meenu Batra Parshuram, fetal medicine consultant from Saimar Hospital, Cochin, Kerala. And I have been asked to talk today about, is my baby normal? So coming to the diagnostic tests, the first test that I mentioned about was the amniocentesis. So this is what it somehow looks like, where you see that this is the mother. You can see the uterus inside the mother here. This is the baby. The thing that you're seeing is in the blue color is actually the fluid that you see around the baby, and you can see we are inserting a small needle. Now, since we're doing it under ultrasound guidance, there is no chance that you're going to hit the baby. So a lot of times the patients would have the anxiety that, you are not, what if the baby gets pricked by the needle? It's a very small needle, even a needle that is even thinner than what is normally used when you go to the lab to do your routine sugar tests. So there is a very minimal chance that you can hit the baby, one, and even if it hits, it is not going to cause damage to the baby because the needle is very, very thin. Now, another option is that these diagnostic tests, something called as the placenta. The placenta is the major organ which is actually supplying all the nutrients and the blood to the baby. So with the same needle, we can also take a small tissue from the placenta, which is also called as chorionic villus sampling, and again test the karyotype of the baby. Now, apart from just finding about, that whether the baby has Down syndrome or not, we can also use these diagnostic tests, that is amniocentesis or CVS. We can also use them to find out other genetic disorders. Like if you go up towards the northern India, you'll find gene disorders like thalassemias are very common. If you come down towards Kerala, you'll find that there's a certain belt where sickle cell anemia is very common. So all these are genetic disorders which we can actually pick up much earlier during your 3rd month of pregnancy itself. If we know that the parents are carriers of these traits, or there's a history in the family and you already worked up and you want to know early that whether your child is having the disorder or not, you would be able to find these things. Now, we talked about the role of ultrasound in screening your baby for Down syndrome, screening for congenital abnormalities. We talked about how it helps us in diagnosis of genetic abnormalities. A third very important utility of ultrasound is treating certain abnormalities within the baby when the baby is inside the uterus. So to name a few, I think the first one that I would want to highlight is fetal reduction. Now, today, because of various reasons, some of us are trying for pregnancy much later. A lot of us have other issues because of which we go for various ART treatments. Now, a disadvantage, or I would say a side effect of going for ART treatments at time is that you end up getting more than what you expected. So what I mean here is that you went to the doctor to have one baby, but when you find that you're pregnant, you find out that you're carrying 3 or 4 inside you. Now, carrying a triplet pregnancy or a quadruplet pregnancy is practically very difficult because Mother Nature has designed the uterus of a female to bear the weight of only a single baby. And what happens is when you're carrying more than one, the amount of weight that the uterus has to carry is going to increase. And eventually what can happen is you can deliver early because the birth canal might not be able to take up that much of pressure, because of which it can lead to an early delivery. So that is why when you're having a triplet pregnancy or you're carrying 4 or 5, what we call as a quadruplet or a pentuplet pregnancy, what we usually advise is that around 12 weeks, this 12 weeks is actually a golden period where we end up picking up a lot of things. So at 12 weeks, what we can do is we can reduce some of the babies so that we convert it into a twin pregnancy, because as a twin pregnancy, you can successfully carry your pregnancy forward till around 34, 36 weeks, which is a good time to deliver, and the risks are not that much. So that is something that can be done with the help of an ultrasound. Another thing is, there is a lot of dilemma about blood groups between couples. We see a lot of couples who are worried that, whether their baby is at increased risk because they have the same blood groups or because both of them are negative or both of them are positive. I think the only situation where we actually have to be worried about is if the mother is a negative blood group and the father is positive. Now, in that case, what happens is when the mother gets pregnant and the baby is a positive blood group, since the mother is negative, the mother's blood is going to have antibodies which can destroy the blood of the baby if the baby is a positive blood group. So it's like what will happen is, because the blood is getting destroyed, the baby will have less hemoglobin. So if you look at an adult, if your hemoglobin is less, what happens is you feel very tired. You don't feel like doing anything. The little you walk, you start panting. Your heart is having a lot of load, and you start putting swelling on various parts of your body. The same thing will happen to the baby as well. So the baby's hemoglobin will go down. The baby's heart will start failing. And if the same thing happens to an adult, what you would do is, if the hemoglobin is too low, you will give him some iron or you will ask for a blood transfusion. So the same thing can be done for the baby in this situation itself. So if you find on ultrasound that the baby's hemoglobin is going very low, the baby is developing anemia, we can go inside under ultrasound guidance, prick the cord of the baby and transfuse O negative blood to the baby, which will help us in saving these babies in more than 95% of the cases. Now, this is one of the best treatments that we have available today, which done on time has a success rate of more than 95%. And mind you, if we do not pick up this condition, what is going to happen is this baby is going to die in utero, or even if this baby is born, the baby will definitely need a transfusion after delivery, which is a much more difficult and complicated scenario to handle, because the baby would have had the rest of the complications of overload, of developing jaundice, because the treatment was not done at the right time, because we've delayed ourselves. Now, another important thing is, a lot of us also feel happy when we have a twin pregnancy. Actually, that was something that I always wanted to do it. Not because I would like to have a twin pregnancy, but I thought in one single go, I'll finish everything. I'll have a twin pregnancy, one by one goal and over. But then later on, that was when I was not into this field. But today, it would be a nightmare for me. So we said twins can go forward successfully, but even there are certain kind of complications which can happen in twins as well. So I want you to look at this. We get twins as non-identical and identical as well. Identical twins are usually of the same sex. They look similar to each other. Whereas non-identical twins, they don't exactly look similar and can be of different gender. Now, when you look at the technical terms, what happens is, normally when you have a baby, the baby will have a placenta which is going to give nutrition, and the baby is going to get nutrition from that placenta and is going to grow. Now, in non-identical twins, what happens is, within the same uterus, you have two babies. These babies have two placentas. So each placenta is going to individually give all the nutrients and the blood supply to that baby respectively. So they grow like two separate pregnancies within the same womb at the same time. But in identical twins, what happens is, they have a single placenta which is going to give the blood supply and the nutrition to both the babies. For example, if there is only one plate of food, one serving of food that is given every day to two children at the same time. Now, how well both of them will grow by having that single serving of food from that single plate will depend on what each baby is going to eat. So if you find that one of them is eating well, that one is going to grow well. And the one that is not growing well, not eating well, is not going to grow well. So the same thing can happen with identical twins in around 10 to 15% of the cases, where if the placenta share is not equal for both of them, one of them will grow well, the other one will not be able to grow well and may not be able to sustain as well as the larger one. So you can have various complications. Also, there is sharing of blood supply between the two of them, which can lead to various complications. But today, with the help of ultrasound, what we can do is, we can actually divide the blood supply and divide the placenta between the two if we see these kind of complications are arising with the help of small laparoscope. You've heard about laparoscopy. So similarly, we have a small laparoscope which is called as the fetoscope, which can be put inside the mother's abdomen, and then you can approach the placenta and all the connecting blood vessels and separate them so that all these complications can be overcome. So in this way, I think ultrasound is not only about looking at your baby, taking good pictures of the face, and only ruling out structural abnormalities. It is also about diagnosing genetic abnormalities, also picking up certain specific conditions which can be treated when the baby is in utero.